Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Breakfast Time with Waffle and Richard. You're probably wondering, where was last week's episode? I forgot to do it. So
I forgot about it as well because Richard texted me or told me Saturday or whatever day it was.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even get the episode out, and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess you didn't." I had no idea.
So if you don't know, I had to work the South Atlantic Conference basketball tournament. It was a lot of fun down in Greenville, South Carolina. I literally, while we're driving down there on Friday night, I was like, I haven't put up that podcast episode yet, knowing I would have no time to do it that weekend, of course, with 6 basketball games in 2 days. So unfortunately, no episode. It's out on my computer somewhere. Basically, we just talked about basketball and everything else, and just preview championship week. But we can go over some of those conference champions because we're deep into March. Literally have the ACC tournament pulled up on my iPad. The second round that started today on Wednesday, March 9th, when we're recording. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Waffle, as we said.
Yes,
and there have been upsets aplenty. There have been just some really good games. And even at all sorts of levels. We'll start with the D1 men's level and kind of go over every single champion we've seen. If I can pull it up. Let me see if I can just find like the automatic bids.
Yeah.
One big one, I'll say that, is Longwood in the Big South. We talked about them a little bit. They knocked off Winthrop and won first ever NCAA tournament for the Lancers in Division One. They were D2 for a long time, D1 about 10, 12 years ago or so. And now finally they're going to the big dance. And their women's team won their conference championship as well. So the double whammy for Farmville, Virginia, which is a tiny town. And when they got home on Monday because the women didn't play till like 7 o'clock. So they stayed the extra night. And both teams got home Monday. And it was packed and shut the entire town down, which is just really cool to see. So kind of go through. And the first one I'll come up on is a weird one. The A-Sun goes to Jacksonville State, but they weren't even in the title game. Now, you're probably wondering, how does that work? Well, Bellarmine, who is in transition from D2, they're in the second year transitioning from D2 to D1, played at Jacksonville. And Jacksonville State lost to Bellarmine in the semifinals. Jacksonville State lost to Jacksonville in the semifinals. Mm-hmm. Bellarmine beat Liberty in the semifinals of the A-Sun tournament. Bellarmine wins the A-Sun championship. They get the championship trophy. But because they were in transition, the 2 seed gets to go if Bellarmine were to win. And so now Jacksonville State goes to the NCAA tournament despite not winning a conference championship.
And it sucks for Jacksonville, who made it to the championship game with a fairly decent record, 21-10, 11-5 in the conference. And they get nothing.
Yep. Now, Jacksonville State is a good team. They're shooting almost 40% from 3. That's 5th best in the country. They're not a bad team. I just don't think it's right to Bellarmine to be like, oh, hey, you can't get too good too quick.
Right.
Like the worst ones last year was in women's. Cal Baptist women went undefeated last year, won the WAC and couldn't go. And their only loss was in the semifinals of the NIT, I think. So it's a weird rule. I don't like it. I get why you don't do it because you don't want teams to get too good too quick, I guess, or recruiting stuff or whatever. But it just stinks. But at least they get a conference championship. At least you can't take that away from them. So there are some schools that they don't even let you go in the conference tournament if you're a transitioning team up. So
at
least you get that. In the Colonial, Delaware makes a run. They were the 5 seed, upset the 1 seed Towson, and then knocked off UNC Wilmington, who's been kind of a surprise this year under Takeo Little, who's their 3rd-year head coach, I believe. And I think UNC Wilmington is going to get back to where they were really good. I know a few years ago they made tournament and gave Duke a little bit of a scare in the first round. They'll get up there, but Delaware gets the win. They were the first ever 5 seed to win the CAA tournament. And led by Jameer Nelson Jr.,
Yeah.
Which,
boy, I bet you feel old.
yeah, didn't know Jameer Nelson had a kid, but yeah, Jameer Nelson Jr. is their biggest player and had a solid year, led the team in points and steals for the Blue Hens. The Horizon League was not IUPUI on the men's side, but it was on the women's. Jags held on the women's side. I'm scared for Cleveland State, but this was wild. This was a wild game. I don't know if you saw this one. It was Wright State and Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky is a really good team. And they looked like they were going to clinch this title, going to win it. It's over. And it was a 16-point lead with 12 minutes to play. Wright State made an all-time run, come all the way back, and hit the game-winning shot with about 10, 15 seconds left to win it. 72-71 for the Raiders. They were the 4 seed. It's insane. Their coach, Scott Nagy, was the coach of South Dakota State when they made their run a few years ago. And so now he's doing it again with a Wright State team that knocks off a very hot Northern Kentucky team. So shout out to Wright State for sure in that. Also, they have a guy, Tanner Holden. He leads the country in free throws made, which is a very random stat to have, but it's a good stat to have for sure.
Right.
And then Missouri Valley, Sister Jean's back. Sister Jean is back. Oh, Chicago. Yes, this is their last Missouri Valley tournament because they're going to the A10 next year, and they are back in the tournament. Last 2 times they went to the Final Four and they went to the Sweet 16. So I know it's a different team. They don't have Portland Moser there as their coach, but they're still consistently a very good team. They have a good defense. They held opponents to 50.3 points a game in their tournament games. They had 3 of them, and just locked down the 3-pointers. So this is still a good team. That's going to be one of those teams you're going to see probably like a 14 seed or something, and you're going to think that team could upset somebody.
Yeah,
if they get them on the wrong day for sure. Northeast. I don't know if you saw this one. This is wild. Bryant won it. The school from Rhode Island. It's their first NCAA tournament since they moved to D1 back in 2008. Bryant rolled over Wagner to win this title, but if you didn't see, it was at Bryant University. There was a fight in the stands.
Yes.
And they had to remove all the Wagner fans and move a section of it. It took like 20 minutes. This was like last media timeout.
Yeah. It was literally like a 30-minute delay.
Yeah, giant brawl. Bryant won this game 70-43. And then Peter Kiss, nation's leading scorer, 24.7 points a game. One of the cockiest dudes you'll ever see. Someone said he's the mid-major Marshall Henderson, which I get it. My man was doing push-ups after a dunk, pointing at fans in the crowd. He's cocky, but he's pretty good. So
yeah.
I don't know if Bryant's going to be one of those trendy picks to upset anybody. That probably will be like a 16 seed or something. But when you got a guy who can score 24 points a game, you have a chance at least.
Yeah.
Ohio Valley, it's Murray State. Murray State again. We talked about them smacking Belmont last week, and they lost John Morant, and they haven't missed a step. 30-2. Their last loss was December 22nd when they lost to Auburn. And they haven't lost since then. Went undefeated in the Ohio Valley this year. And KJ Williams, 18 points a game, 9 rebounds a game. Murray State, dangerous, y'all. Still dangerous. And it'll be interesting to see who they draw in the tournament for sure, and interesting to see what seed they get because they are a very good team.
Yeah.
To the SoCon, absolute heartbreaking loss.
Oh, what a terrible loss.
Furman and Chattanooga had one of the best championship games. They have to go to OT. They go back and forth. Furman was up big. Chattanooga comes back. Furman ties it. They go to OT. Furman takes a lead with 4 seconds left, 63-61. And then David Jean-Baptiste, who has had so much in his career. He was part of a scandal at Kansas and transferring to Chattanooga. hits the game winner from about half court, drains it. Chattanooga wins 64-63. Heartbreaking for Furman because Furman hasn't been to the tournament since 1980. This is a good Furman team. And you've heard us talk about them. I think they split in the regular season. And then Chattanooga just dagger, onions, whatever you want to say. Insanity. And Chattanooga gets the bid to the NCAA tournament. But, man, wild. Just wild stuff for sure. To the Summit League, if South Dakota State, once again, I feel like every year it's either the Jackrabbits or it's the Bison, North Dakota State, battling it out for this championship, and they did. South Dakota State's won 21 games in a row. Haven't lost since December when they lost to Missouri State. And they shoot 45% from three. South Dakota State is just gonna swing that thing up and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worked for them. They're rolling right now. That's another team that, again, if you get hot and your opponent has an off day and you gotta play catch up, it's not gonna work. So
right.
To the Sun Belt, this was a surprise. Georgia State won the championship. They started off 0-4 in Sun Belt play. Looked like they were dead in the water, and they have won 10 straight. And this is their first NCAA tournament bid since 2015 when Ron Hunter, fell off his chair at Baylor when they hit the game-winning three by his son. Now Rob Lanier coaching there. This is a team that was a 3-4 seed in the Sun Belt and then upset Texas State and then upset Troy in the championship game. So this is a good Georgia State team. So, again, all you got to do is get hot long enough in March to make a run. So wouldn't be surprised if Georgia State makes some noise. And then finally, the West Coast right now, against Gonzaga, of course. I think everybody expected that. They got the 1 seed. They rolled in their championship game. Should be a number 1 seed for the second straight season. You have Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme, Rasir Bolton, all those guys on that team. I thought last year was the year for Gonzaga to make a run. I think this year you can make a case that they can make a run. They still look like one of the best teams all year, despite a late loss to St. Mary's at the end of the regular season. But still, it's a good Gonzaga team. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But, of course, you saw them play against Alabama and Duke this year, 2 really good teams as well, I think. Duke better than Alabama. Of course, Alabama's had some weird games as well. But I think Gonzaga right now is probably one of those best teams. And they'll be interesting to see what happens this year for the Zags.
Yeah, I agree.
This one. Got some conference championship games tonight. The Patriot League has their championship game as we're recording. Saturday, you have a whole bunch. You have America East, MEAC, the MAC, MAAC, Mid-Atlantic, the Big 12, Mountain West, SWAC, Big East, the MAC, Mid-American, Big Sky, ACC, Conference USA, Pac-12, Southland, Western, and the Big West. And then Sunday, you have the Ivy League, SEC, A-10, American, and the Big Ten, all playing the champions. Of course, the Big Ten will have their championship game, and then you have the selection show immediately after on CBS. And right now, it's been day 2 of the ACC tournament, and right now, Clemson Tigers are getting ran out of the building by Virginia Tech. They're down by 11 with 4 minutes left in the first half, so that's fun to watch. But, hey, listen, they ended in the 8th season, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
NC State doesn't get to have happiness at all. So, that makes me happy. Already had one major upset in the ACC tournament. Wake Forest lost to Boston College in overtime today. Boston College went on a 27-12 run to end that game and win it. And so now Wake Forest, they're kind of on the bubble in some. Some people have them in as a number 8, 10, 9, or 10 seed. I think they should be in. I know because they have that big win over North Carolina. That's going to keep them in. I know they got swept by Duke. That's the only thing I think some people are wary of. But still, I think this is a good team. I think they should be in, but that just goes to show you the ACC tournament. We talked about the top part of that ACC tournament, but we didn't think about the lower part in Boston College.
Yeah, that's true.
Trying to make a run and seeing what happens. Also, you had Syracuse roll over Florida State, and it's the same thing every year. Syracuse looks kind of meh in the regular season, and then, oh, you know what? It's tournament time. No one knows how to play against the zone for some reason.
Yeah.
And they win and sneak into the tournament somehow. So they're going to have to do a lot of work. They have Duke tomorrow at noon. That's going to be a huge task for them. But we'll have to see for sure. Butler won today. They have to take on Providence. Oh, Oregon State, your season's finally over. They just lost to Oregon.
Praise God.
3-28 after making the Elite Eight last year.
God bless. What a turnaround. That's terrible.
Oregon State, I don't know what happened last year, but, man, they just fell apart. Missouri, the worst team in America, is beating Ole Miss 61-49 right now. That's God, Ole Miss. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, sheesh.
Nebraska. We haven't talked about Nebraska yet.
Yeah,
Nebraska beat Ohio State, beat Wisconsin in the season. They're up by 4 against Northwestern with 9 minutes remaining in the game in the first round of the tournament. But they were up by 14 at halftime, so it looks like they're blowing a lead right now. So I don't know which Nebraska we're getting right now.
Fred Hoiberg just needed clarity and guarantee that he was going to be there, and now he's going to turn it on, and they're going to run the table, win the Big Ten tournament, go all the way to the Final Four.
That Patriot League Championship is playing. They just started. It's Navy and Colgate, 2 teams with 20 wins or so. Colgate was the 1 seed in that one. You had some A-10 games today, Big Sky, Mountain West. Back in the Pac-12, you had Stanford knocked off Arizona State on a buzzer beater, which was insane. Today, Texas Southern, number 1 seed in the SWAC, survived against Jackson State. I know they're always a pretty good team. And then, but again, the greatest game, some games later tonight, Georgia and Vanderbilt. Tom Crean's done at Georgia.
Yeah.
They've already said that whenever this game ends. What if he wins the tournament on Miracle Run?
Still got to fire him. Get him out.
Yeah. Oh, you're 10-25 now, and you won the conference. Well, get out.
You talk about Clemson making the ultimate sacrifice with their basketball and football teams. Georgia won the national title, and their basketball team said, all right, park.
Yep, both of them said
Anthony Edwards went to the draft, and they were like, yeah, there's no hope. Screw it.
Oh, God. This is one of your late night games, because you're getting to this point where we have late night games. You know, some of these games are scheduled to start at 9. They're not going to start till 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Right.
One of them, you get to see the Georgetown Hoyas at 10 o'clock at night against Seton Hall.
Seton Hall, please put them out of their misery.
Georgetown still has not won a Big East game this year, a year after making a miracle run to win the Big East title last year. Do they have another run in them? Many are saying probably not, because
I hope not.
Seton Hall is a 9.5-point favorite. I'm surprised it's that low, but
yeah,
it's late night in New York. Who knows what's going to happen for sure. So yeah, a lot of fun this week. You also have Louisville, Virginia as the late night game of the ACC tonight as well. So that's what's going on. Of course, Thursday, that's when your 1 seeds, your top 4 start playing. Like I said, Duke and Syracuse play at noon. Big 12 tournament starts tomorrow with TCU in Texas. TCU, I talked about them as a bubble team. They've started to play their way in. Now they have a chance to really prove it against Texas. Oklahoma and Baylor will play tomorrow. UConn plays tomorrow. North Carolina will play tomorrow. Iowa State and Texas Tech play tomorrow. That could be a really fun game for sure. And the Mountain West game, it could be fun. Utah State, sneaky good, taking on Colorado State, who is ranked as well. So a lot of tournament games, a lot of teams wanting to play their way in. And I think a team that did play their way in, and I hate they did it, North Carolina this past week.
Yeah.
Ruining Coach K's final home game with a big-time victory. I didn't see any of this game because of work and stuff, but I think North Carolina, everybody said they needed that one win. They need that one win. I mean, that's the way to go out, I think.
Yeah, I mean they definitely got it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I did get to watch this game in full, and looking back on it, I'd probably be better off for not watching it. But
Yeah.
First half was really competitive, and Duke, pulled away at sometimes, and I think got up as much as 8 or 9, maybe up to 10, closer to. They were up 9. They were 37-28 with 3 minutes left, and then they went into the break up 41-39. So North Carolina kind of stormed back there in the first half, and then as the second half just got on, I mean, it was competitive. Duke got up. Duke was up 50-44 at one point, 52-45. They were up 54-40, 54-47. And then North Carolina kind of turned it on. And after that second media timeout, after the under 12, Duke got up 58-54. And then North Carolina ended up tying it up with 9 minutes left in the game. And then North Carolina took the lead, and I don't think they looked back from there.
Yeah.
And it was just North Carolina played such a sound game. And also it was a bad, awful timing for Duke, who's been a very good defensive team this year, to have their worst defensive half.
Yeah.
And Baycott was a monster. He's probably a lock for ACC Player of the Year. 23 points for him, 7 rebounds. He was 10 of 11 from the floor. So he had a relatively easy night, didn't get into foul trouble, only had 2, which was important, because in the first matchup he got into foul trouble and Duke was able to exploit them after, he got out. But great games from a lot of guys. Brady Manick, the Oklahoma transfer, the sharpshooter, that he shoots so good. He had 20. He was 5 of 10 from deep. He also had 11 rebounds, so a great double-double for him. And RJ Davis, 9 of 16 from the floor, had 21 points. And Caleb Love, 4 of 17 from the floor, but made all 12 of his free throws. North Carolina, a very good free throw shooting team, shot 86% against Duke on Saturday. And in the second half, Hubert Davis did not make one substitution, not one.
That's wild.
That 5, Baycott, Manick, Davis, Love, and Leaky Black stayed in the whole time. Manick and RJ Davis never came out. 40 minutes. Love played 38 minutes. Leaky Black played 38 minutes, and Baycott played 30 because at the beginning of the game, Hubert was very cautious with his fouls. Like, Baycott got his first foul pretty quick into the game, and he took him out. So, but the whole second half, just no subs, just unreal. A heck of an effort from North Carolina. You got to give it up to them. As far as Duke, Banchero took 26 shots. He had 23 points. So you're not. It's not an efficient night, especially when you're shooting more balls than you're scoring. And Mark Williams had a good night, 16. He had 13 rebounds as well. But just for Duke, AJ Griffin, I did not think got enough touches and did not take enough shots. He only took 5 shots. And when he's not scoring, he's got to attack and he's got to get in there for Duke. So looking forward, obviously this was the biggest night in Duke basketball. Duke basketball's had in years. I'd say this is the biggest night Duke basketball's had since 2015 when they played in the national title game against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Just because of everything that's going on with Coach K leaving and all that, and the ceremony and everything they had was really cool. The ACC network did a great job with their broadcast, having a sole broadcast that started like 30 minutes before the game started that showed Coach K walking out, the national anthem, all kinds of stuff. Obviously, emotions are high. You can see Coach K trying to hold it back, but just, regardless of what you think about Coach K, I mean, you have to appreciate, what he's done for the game. And I know it's always going to be either you love him or you hate him. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And that's how Duke is, because Duke is like the Yankees of college basketball. Like, I mean, it is a place for bandwagon people and stuff like that. But I mean, the real ones, you, me, we know who the real ones are. Like, we ride or die with them whenever. But tough night. And the post game ceremony was really good. But obviously, just after taking a 13-point loss to your most hated rival, like it sucks. And I like Coach K coming out there, and Coach K came out first thing. He was like, "This is not part of the program." He was like, "I'm sorry, we sucked." And, that was unacceptable. And he told the crowd to shut up, which I thought was great. That's just right on par for him. So, but hate to send out his Cameron career like that. But like he said as well, season's not over. Oh, yeah. It's March. It's tournament time. They got plenty of opportunities to make up for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Looking at North Carolina, like I said, they lost to Duke back on February 5th. Squeaked by Clemson, rolled over Florida State, then lost a weird game to Pitt, but haven't lost since then. So I think they really have played their way into the tournament. Their closest game during that stretch was a 7-point win against Louisville. If they lose in this first round of the ACC tournament to Virginia or Louisville, I think they're in that. Virginia's another team on the bubble that really needs that win for sure. So that'll be interesting to see who they get that one. Virginia Tech and Clemson just went to halftime. Storm Murphy, the former Wofford player, made 4 3-pointers today. So That's how that's going right now. 41-29 at halftime, lead for Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, I think, is a team that's trying to play their way in for sure.
Yeah.
And then any team coached by Mike Young that can shoot the lights out is going to be dangerous. So
yeah,
to see.
While we're talking about Saturday stuff, there's one game that we have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And this game is out of the Southland Conference.
Oh, my God.
Between two teams that have combined for 20 wins this year, McNeese State and Houston Baptist put on an absolute show playing 60 minutes of basketball, 4 overtimes. Final score 149-144. Houston Baptist wins. Houston Baptist had a kid, Darius Lee, 52 points, 20 of 27 from the free throw line, had 18 rebounds. That's just one of the most impressive double-doubles I've ever seen. 16 of 30 from the floor, very efficient. They had another kid who had 30. It was 12 of 17 from the line. He was only 8 of 25 from the floor, but he made it count at the free throw line. And this was a freaking dogfight, man. It was 47-41 after the first half, and then going into overtime, it was tied at 95. So we play. I'm just going to take you through this because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. McNeese State blew it. They absolutely blew it.
Yes, absolutely.
They had it in the bag. I mean, this is a meaningless game. Both of these teams, McNeese is 10-21. Houston Baptist is 10-17. They're bottom of the conference, both of them, like bottom 4 of the conference. Like this is just, was just happening on Saturday.
It's senior day. That's all it is. It's somebody's senior day. So
it's somebody's senior day. And luckily they were playing at Houston Baptist. Houston Baptist ultimately did get the win. So I guess good for them. But we go to the end of the first overtime. Darius Lee, Mr. 52-point scorer, made a layup with 1 second left to tie it up at 102. So we go to the second overtime. And as we go into the second overtime, it's coming down to the end of it. We got free throws happening from McNeese State with 14 seconds left. They take a 3-point lead. They foul Houston Baptist, and they make the first free throw. And then he misses the second one. So McNeese State gets the ball back. 6 seconds left. We are tied. No, excuse me. It's 115-113. So McNeese State can effectively, ultimately win the game here. 2 free throws. It's going to be very hard for Houston Baptist to figure out 4 points in 6 seconds. Darius Lee commits the foul. Miles Lewis at the line from McNeese State misses the first one. Oops, and he missed the second one. Darius Lee with the rebound, and then Darius Lee gets fouled with no time on the clock, and he shoots 2 clutch free throws to send us to a third overtime. So now we're in the third overtime, and this is where it gets wild. So fast forward, there's 20 seconds left in the game. Houston Baptist has just made 2 free throws to go up 131-127. It is a 4-point lead. McNeese State makes a layup. they foul. Darius Lee, 52-point score, misses 2 free throws. So now it is a 2-point lead. McNeese State, no timeouts, grabs it, runs down court. Zach Scott, 3-pointer with like 0.6 seconds left. Just an ultimate dagger. Effectively, it's over. There's 0.6 seconds left. They got an inbound from under their own basket. It's not looking great. But McNeese State hits the 3-pointer, and someone off of their bench storms the court, and there's still time on the clock. So what is that? Beep. A one-shot technical for Houston Baptist, and they put Bryson Long on the free throw line, and he drains it. So guess what? We got 4 overtimes. McNeese State absolutely blew this game. We go to the 4th overtime. A massive 3-point jumper from Bryson Long with 2.5 minutes left to put him up 4. And then Darius Lee hits a couple free throws. Houston Baptist scores another, gets another free throw. Bryson Long makes another layup. And Houston Baptist effectively just makes free throws to end up winning this game for Houston Baptist. And McNeese State, you absolutely blew it. I'm so ashamed of you. That kid who came off the bench, he should be kicked off the team. I know this game didn't mean anything, but get out. At McNeese State, you trash.
Yeah, Houston Baptist, I feel like it's the weirdest school of all time because if you don't know, their football stadium is right next to a CVS. I think it's in a parking lot of a CVS, essentially.
Yeah. And their gym sucks too.
The gym is
there's a whole YouTube video. This is where I saw this game. There's a 7.5-minute YouTube video from PSC Highlights on YouTube that goes through all the major points of these overtimes. So please watch that. It's well worth 7.5 minutes. Yeah. And their gym sucks.
Their gym only holds 1,000 people.
It's awful.
This is mid-major basketball. Just want to let you
It's got like that dark brown wood that just makes it look like it's straight out of the 70s.
Yeah, it looks like an old high school gym is what you're looking at, basically. So, yeah, it's a interesting school, but, you know, they've given us some wild things. Heck, they gave us Bailey Zappi in football. He transferred from there to Western Kentucky, so at least he gave us that. So.
Very true.
But no, yeah, just a crazy game. It was still on when I got back to my hotel after the SAC championships day 1 got done. And I was like, I need to watch this. I saw it was going to the 3rd overtime. I watched the end. I was like, this is insane. So, welcome to March. That's all I can say, really. We'll go to the D1 women's side. Most of those tournaments have been decided. You have some this week. We'll go through here. ACC, NC State wins their 3rd straight title. Knocked off a Miami team who went on a run. Miami upset Notre Dame.
Yeah, they got hot.
Tournament, yeah. But NC State, they're ranked as number 3 overall seed. They should be a 1 seed. They've only made it to the Sweet 16 in the past 3 NCAA tournaments, though. So trying to get over that hump are the Wolfpack for sure. A10, it's Umass. Last year, Umass was the 7th seed and lost the championship of the A10. This year, they earned the 3 seed and ended up winning number 1 seed Dayton to win the first ever A10 title in program history. So shout out to them for that. They're called the Minute Women, which throws me off so much, but that's a really cool name, actually.
Yeah.
Big East, UConn takes care of business by knocking off Villanova, who Villanova knocked them off back in February for the first conference loss in almost 9 years. They're getting Paige Buchers back at the right time, and this UConn starting to click. You know, Ariyama, he knows what he's doing, of course. They won't be a 1 seed, which is going to be weird to see them not a 1 seed probably, but
yeah,
you know, it'll be
but I mean, they're every UConn score I see now, they're blowing people out like it's, you know, when Brianna Stewart was there. So I mean, they might be back. Watch out for them.
Yeah. Like I said, Big South, Longwood, they were the 2 seed. They took on the top seed Campbell, number 1 seed. It beat them 86-47 in the championship game. This is a very good Longwood women's team. Kyla McMakin is averaging 18 points a game. and only took her 54 games in her career last year to reach 1,000 points. So she is insane. This is a great team for sure. The Big Ten, Iowa, Caitlin Clark, Big Ten Player of the Year, had 78 points in 3 tournament games, including 41 against Nebraska, who's also a very good team. Iowa looking to get hot. We've talked about the quote unquote the trash talk between Iowa and South Carolina the last few weeks, but we need them to play each other at some point this tournament.
Yes, I would love to see it
happen. Horizon League, my Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis Jaguars.
Oh God!
Make their first ever NCAA tournament. Macy Williams is their star player. She's 6'2" and hit 3-pointers, and she won the Horizon League Player of the Year award 4 years in a row. So go Jags! That's all I'm saying. God, what if they could match up with South Carolina in the first round? Hold up now.
Sheesh.
Not my Jags. Ohio Valley, it's Belmont. Last year they upset Gonzaga as a 12 seed in the first round. So Belmont looking to do the same. They've won 6 titles in 7 years in the Ohio Valley. So really good team. Pac-12, Stanford. Stanford's been very quietly just dominating people too. It's been louder for South Carolina because they've beaten all these ranked teams. Stanford's 28-3, and they rolled over Utah 73-48 in the championship game. So that's insane. Haley Jones is still there, and then Cameron Brink, and they have 4 of their 5 starters from last year's team. This is your other 1 seed. So Purdue 1 seed's already in, locked in. But speaking of one of those 1 seeds, Kentucky made a run in the championship game, made to the championship game. We're a 7 seed. But you're thinking, okay, they're playing South Carolina. Dreams die. Everything's over. And it looked like that. South Carolina's up by 12. They're rolling. Kentucky went on a run and get an insane shot by Ryan Howard. And they win the title 64-62. Madness from Kentucky.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We saw it. So South Carolina played Ole Miss in the semis.
Yeah.
And won 61-51, but South Carolina in the third quarter outscored them 20-8, but in the fourth quarter they got outscored 21-8. And the game was still wouldn't bring it to less than to single digits, but there was some concern there when I talk about Gamecock Twitter being in shambles. There was concern that evening of, oh my God, all right, we gotta stop lollygagging at the end of these games. We got to finish these games. And I was like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. They'll figure it out. But lo and behold, what happened against Kentucky? South Carolina is up at the break 30-21. Kentucky has scored 21 points in the first half, 18 in the first quarter, and 3 in the second quarter. As we go to the third quarter, a fairly even third. South Carolina scores 25. Kentucky scores 22. Fourth quarter was Kentucky scored 21. South Carolina scored 7. The end of the game, lollygagness, that's a word, came back to haunt South Carolina. And Gamecock Twitter was in utter shambles this weekend. when you factor in, nobody's really happy about men's basketball.
Yeah.
Women's basketball is our one saving grace, and that couldn't help us. And South Carolina baseball got absolutely shellacked this weekend in all 3 games by Clemson. So things are not good. Like
you're waiting for football season for sure.
Everything sucks now. Now, see, but that also changes how they look at football.
That's
now they're
true.
like, oh, God, now we're going to suck again. I mean, so, and everybody's back on the fire Ray Tanner train, which I've always been on. I think he needs to leave. But, yeah, not a good weekend for myself between Duke, South Carolina. It's not great. And Lander as well. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But God bless.
Oh, man. Yeah. Not a good weekend. South Carolina Athletics were in the mud this weekend for sure.
Yeah.
And then baseball didn't help anything else because they lost to Xavier the other day pretty bad too.
Yeah,
so.
I'm out. I'm out on Gamecock baseball. I'm done.
They have
done
Texas
right
this weekend. How do you think that's going to go? Wow. How do you think
what happened to the home field magic? I mean, I thought when teams got home field, like things, kind of looked better.
Yeah.
And it's gotten worse. So
that can only go to one team. Listen, it may have gone to Shane Beamer though. So let's wait and see.
It might have. It might have.
If it went to them when they go 9-2.
Hey, look, I'm all in favor of the sacrifices that teams like Clemson and Georgia have made. I'm all in favor. Every other South Carolina team can go over. If South Carolina, if it brings a national title to Columbia in football, I'm okay with it. And I just need one. I just need one national title before I die. Because at this point, I don't think I'm going to see one. I just need one, and I'm done.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of another team instead of South Carolina that blew it, Furman had one of the worst weekends in basketball this weekend.
Yeah.
Because in the SoCon championship, they're up on top by Mercer by 1. And you're like, okay, still a close game. Yeah, Mercer outscored Furman 30-4 in the third quarter.
Yeah. I was watching a little bit of that. That's not good.
Oh, no, Furman. Just absolute pain from the palate.
Mm-hmm.
In the Summit League, it's South Dakota. That's their third straight NCAA tournament. Knocking off a good South Dakota State team. So the Coyotes, I know, made some noise a few years ago in the tournament. I think they made around to Sweet 16 before. So, look out for them. The Sun Belt, UT Arlington. That's their first ever Sun Belt championship. They knocked off Troy, who was a very good team, by 15. So, we'll see what the Mavs can do in the tournament. And then the West Coast, it's Gonzaga again, and upsetting a ranked BYU team by 12. So, interesting to see that. BYU's probably going to get in. They're 26-3, but that's got to be disappointing if you're the Cougs who wanted to lock up that championship. But Gonzaga going to the winnings both the West Coast men's and women's championships. So,
does the women's side run their tournament like the men's does?
I believe so. I don't know if they have a first 4 or not, but I think they go straight 64. But West Coast. I mean, they might run it like that gauntlet style.
The more I look at that, how they do that conference tournament, I really do like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that because, again, rewards your championship teams, makes your lower teams work for it. But homecoming championships, as we're recording, Mountain West played their women's championship tonight at 10. American plays at 9 tomorrow. Big Sky America East on Friday. Both MACs on Saturday. SWAC, ASUN, Mid-Eastern, WAC, IB, Conference and Big West. Sunday, Northeast, Patriot, Colonial, Southland, Big 12, and the Missouri Valley. And then their selection shows after the men's on ESPN. It's about 7 or 8, I believe, is when they have that usually. So that should be interesting to see who gets that. And, of course, this weekend we had Division II basketball. Tournaments decided. I worked the SAC tournament. Queens knocks off Carson Newman. Carson Newman was a 5 seed on the men's side. Made a run, knocked off Wingate on the road, knocked off the number 1 team, LMU, in Greenville, and then came up short against Queens in the championship. Queens, though, a really good team from North Carolina. They rolled in all 3 of their games, including a 30-point win over Newberry in the semifinals, who had upset Tusculum. On the women's side, you had an upset where they had both 1 seeds lost in the SAC in the semifinals, where you had Wingate lost to Anderson in a wild game, and then Carson Newman knocked off Catawba, and then Carson Newman just rolled over Anderson. Well, a 13-2 run to end the first quarter, didn't look back. Shot 54% from the field in the first half of that game and ended up closing it out for a big-time win. and get in. So that's Southeast Regional. And, of course, Peach Belt, it'll be at North Georgia because they won the Peach Belt in surviving a scare of, was it Clayton State they played championship?
Yeah, Clayton, they played in the championship. Lander got upset by Clayton in the semis on what day was that? On Saturday.
Yeah.
And Lander, a lot like South Carolina. I mean, the final quarter, Lander was up, I believe it was 57-48, and they lost 71-64. So you do the math.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
But then Clayton State went on, played championship game Sunday against North Georgia, and it was, I think the final score was a little bit closer than what it really was during the game. Clayton State had another great fourth quarter, outscoring North Georgia 23-12, but too little, too late. And North Georgia takes home another one. God, I freaking hate them. But the craziest thing, North Georgia, Caroline Martin, who was freshman of the year last year, and she was first team all PPC this year. She had 0 points at halftime. She finished with 18. So, wow. And she was 14 of 17 from the line.
That's insane.
So, not discrediting her. Like I would like to watch this game again and see how they were calling these fouls.
Yeah. So the NCAA Southeast Regionals for D2 that starts this weekend. Starts on Friday. Schedule at noon. You have Barton and Georgia Southwestern. Georgia Southwestern, kind of the surprise team out of the Peach Belt, gets that pre-seed. Barton, the champion of Conference Carolinas, gets in. They lost in the Southeast Regional Final to Belmont Abbey last year, so looking to probably get some vengeance this year. Belmont Abbey didn't even make the tournament this year.
Sucks to play in the Conference Carolinas.
Yeah, 2:30. You have Lander and Catawba. Lander 2 seed, Catawba the 7 seed. That's a dangerous, sneaky matchup. Catawba's got the defensive player of the year, Shemaiah Standback from the SAC. Very good. Also have Lyric Ford, who can shoot from deep. So that'll be interesting to see what they can do against a always good, well-coached Lander team, despite Passmore being out for the Bearcats. 5 o'clock, you have the host, North Georgia, taking on Columbus State. Columbus State, it came down to Columbus State and Anderson, basically, for who would get in, and Columbus State gets that last bid into the regional. So interesting to see what they can do against the host and number 1 seed. And then at 7:30, Carson Newman and Wingate. Wingate won both matchups in the regular season, but they have struggled recently. I believe they've lost 2 of the last 4. Lost to Anderson twice, however. So interesting to see. And then almost lost to a Tusculum team that can shoot the lights out, and about like Carson Newman can if they get hot. So interesting to see. That'll be an interesting matchup for sure. Semifinals will be on Saturday night, and the championship for the regional, where the winners advance to the Elite 8, which is in Birmingham, Alabama this year. Will be on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Looking at the men's basketball regionals. I almost forgot what they were because the number 1 seed there changed so much, but it belongs to Augusta University as they win the Peach Belt Conference Championship.
Christian Berry Fieldhouse.
Yep.
It's a nice place. I really do like that gym.
Yeah. So here you go. Here's the schedule. You have on Saturday. They start Saturday. You have Georgia College, the 6th seed, taking on number 3 Lincoln Memorial. Lincoln Memorial showed some cracks this year that you usually don't see. Like I said, Carson Newman, in their 3 meetings, Carson Newman lost the first one by about 22, but didn't have their 2 best players. Then lost the second one by about 8. LMU had to use an 11-0 run at the end of the game to win it. And then, LMU beat Carson Newman, or lost to Carson Newman in the semifinals of the SAC tournament. So that would be an interesting matchup. Georgia College, they can shoot pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. 2:30, Columbus State and Queens. Queens, your SAC champions, taking on Columbus State, which should be a fun one. 5 o'clock, Belmont Abbey, the champions of Conference Carolinas, take on Augusta. Augusta's 28-3 this year. Very, very good Jags. team. And then UNC Pembroke against Flagler at 7:30. That could be a really, really good game in this regional for sure. That's the final game on Saturday. Semifinals are on Sunday, and then the region championships on Tuesday. And of course, you can find out all the information at the NCAA. But that's going to be a lot of fun. As we said, it is postseason time in basketball. And it's a lot of fun. The most wonderful time of the year. I'm getting to go down to the Liga now on Friday for sure, and we'll hopefully get to go down there this weekend for those games. That should be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Grand Atmosphere. Augusta has not lost since January 22nd, by the way. Lost to Flagler. So that's how good Augusta is. They did lose to Columbus State and Flagler. Their other loss was to Lander on the road, which is and then since then have not lost. So we'll be interested to see what the Jags can do. See, there's another good team called the Jags Waffle, Augusta men's basketball. You have two teams making national tournaments: Augusta men's basketball and IUPUI women's basketball. There you go.
Makes me sick.
I have not checked on how that whatever St. Vincent, is that what that school is called that we looked up and saw?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. I've not seen how they're doing in softball this year, but we'll have to check that out later. But that's going to do it for most of our college basketball talk. Before we move on, we can talk NBA, but we got to talk NFL because deals are moving, money's getting thrown around, and the big one we'll talk about first is, of course, AJ Klein being released by the Bills. That's the sport.
Yes.
I like him, but no. It's obviously Harold Landry getting his extension from the
and
actually a big one.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
Actually,
let me talk this real quick. So Tennessee, that was the one as far as this defense, who obviously everybody knows put on a hell of a performance against Cincinnati in the playoff game. Keeping this defense together, specifically that defensive line, which is the best defensive line Tennessee's had in years, was key. And they came out and they said that they weren't going to franchise tag him. So I was like, okay, they're going to – obviously at this point, you're either going to strike a deal or he's going to be gone. And Tennessee ended up opening up the checkbook for the boy out of Boston College, and paid him 5 years, $87 million. He is making more money than Bud Dupree. So – Harold Landry said he wanted to be the highest paid player in that meeting room. He is. So hope he can back it up. He had a great season this year. And with Jeffrey Simmons, obviously a rising star who's going to be getting paid buku, Aaron Donald types of money. Danico Autry, the best free agent addition possibly across the whole entire league in this past year. Autry was so integral to this Titans defensive line. And then Bud Dupree on the other side, as long as he stays healthy. I mean, this defensive line's here to stay, as is the rest of the defense, with your number one pick, Caleb Farley, coming back next year, hopefully ready to go. And also Rashad Weaver, another defensive lineman who got hurt really early in the season and showed out in the preseason. He's out of Pitt, with him coming back too, getting in the rotation. So very happy to re-sign Harold Landry.
Yeah, for sure. Big time part of that defense. For sure. But the major big sign, the first one, is Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay.
Yep.
For a long time. He's got a 4-year, $200 million extension, highest paid player in NFL history with $50 million average annual salary and $153 million guaranteed. That makes a lot of salary cap space available for the Packers as well, because Devontae Adams, franchise tagged. So looking to run it back, and that's one of those deals we all talked about. Well, he might go to the Broncos. He could go to the Titans at one point. We even talked about
right.
The Ravens, I think we talked about, just all the Bucks with Tom Brady retiring. It was one of those where could he go? And he said he was mulling it over, trying to decide. But I think, but he finally decided that he wanted to stay in Green Bay, and now Green Bay's got their guy, and now it kind of does throw a question though. What do you do with Jordan Love? Because you kind of brought him in.
Yeah. It makes that whole scenario with them drafting him just kind of, it baffles me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still don't fully understand it, other than the fact that maybe they were just trying to light a fire under Aaron Rodgers, which I guess worked. But
two MVP caliber seasons. So
yeah, I mean, I guess you got to get rid of him. You got to get him out of there. But I don't know.
My thing is, though, again, no disputing how great Aaron Rodgers is. He's been to one Super Bowl his entire
No, I agree.
Like, he just has not been able to get over that NFC Championship hump. Or this year lost in the second divisional round. So,
and I mean, you can argue, especially with the trade that we're going to talk about next, like, and we've talked about it before with how many great quarterbacks are in the AFC.
Yeah,
a ton, young talent everywhere, even old talent now. And the NFC is obviously the weaker side, and Aaron Rodgers still can't get over the hump. Now, he was hampered by Tom Brady last year. And then this year he lost to Jimmy G. But yeah.
Now if you look at the NFC, is Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
And that's really the only two you can look at and kind of go, those are the guys in the entire NFC. Dak Prescott, I think you can.
Yeah.
Dak's been so up and down at times.
I want to see a full season of Jameis Winston. I mean, honestly.
Yep. I want to see what he can do for sure. No, interesting to see if he can stay healthy. So, yeah, because I don't know, because the rest of the NFC, I mean, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Your next
guy. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this one real quick. A good segue into this one. Another AFC quarterback who has now made the jump to the NFC, Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Carson Wentz is now a Washington Commander. He's going to be the first Washington Commander quarterback. That's crazy. And the Colts got a third-round pick in this year's draft, and then a conditional third rounder for the 2023 draft. But this is a lot to unpack. Just, there's fault on both sides. Like, obviously the Colts gave up. The Colts do not have a first round pick because they went and got Carson Wentz, and now they're turning around 1 year later and getting rid of him. That's an utter failure. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
So shame on the Colts there. But now the Colts are getting the last laugh because they found somebody to take him, and they found Washington to take him. And now you're just like, Washington, or seriously? And especially with all the reports that are coming out now saying that the Colts, like, even from the get-go, before the season started, were frustrated with him because of his lack of leadership and like other issues that he had. And, they thought that Colts fans thought that, Wentz would come in here and he would have a rebirth. Where he's back with Frank Reich, who was his OC when they won the Super Bowl, the year that he got hurt and he was having a dang near MVP season. So I mean, I get where there was optimism. Obviously, it didn't work out like that. And now, good for the Colts to get rid of him, but also I know they're kicking themselves for the whole situation even being a thing. But so now Carson Wentz in Washington.
Doesn't inspire confidence.
No.
At all, because Washington's going to kick themselves as long as Dan Snyder's their owner.
Is it going to be better than Taylor Heineke? Probably, yes. But I don't know. I don't know. If their defense can stay healthy and Chase Young and all them boys can play like they were supposed to this year, that'll obviously help him out.
And that rushing team is more consistent.
Is he on a better team than in Indianapolis? Absolutely not.
No.
So
he doesn't have the best linebacker in the NFL anymore in Darius Leonard.
And he doesn't have his safety net in Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
I mean, Antonio Gibson's good. I like Gibson a lot, but he's not putting up 1,800, 1,900 yards like Jonathan Taylor did.
Watching them a receiver like T.Y. Hilton, I don't think they do, really.
Well, okay. Terry McLaurin. I love Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin is good. Terry McLaurin is good. He's got that. So he's got a chance. Plus, the bottom half of that division is so bad. They have a chance.
Yeah, okay. He's going into a division that sucks outside of the Cowboys. And even with the Cowboys and their postseason woes, you could argue that they suck too.
Yeah.
So, there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance they can make some noise, but will he make? Is he going to get you to a Super Bowl like he did at Philly? I don't think he is.
No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Now, conversely, on the Colts side, their only quarterback on the roster is Sam Ehlinger. So,
and they used him as a wildcat guy last year.
Right. So, what do the Colts do? Obviously, there's two options. You can go get somebody, whoever's left, or you can trade up because they don't have a first round pick, and you can draft somebody like Malik Willis or whoever in the draft. But I saw today where there's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo going there, which is it better? Is it? I mean, I would argue that I guess it is a little bit better than Wentz.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I feel like the nation has already seen a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo. And what was the key cog that got them to the NFC Championship game last year? Not Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
let me tell you that. And he's
the Super Bowl. It was their rushing attack that got him there.
Right. So. I feel like San Francisco and the Colts are similar. Like, I mean, obviously the Colts, they run through Jonathan Taylor. But, the 49ers ran through Deebo Samuel, who did it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
What's crazy to think about how much has been traded for Carson Wentz. You can't even fit it in a tweet.
Yeah.
He has been traded for 2 first-rounders, 2 swapped picks in the first round, a second-round swap, a second-rounder, 4 3-rounders, 1 that became a second-rounder, a 4th-round pick, Byron Maxwell, and Kiko Alonso were all traded for Carson Wentz. And what has he done since winning that Super Bowl?
Why is he so sought after?
Exactly. I did see also, I don't know if you've seen this, the tweet from Urinating Tree of the Indianapolis starting QB since 2017. They have been 2017, Jacoby Brissett, 2018, Andrew Luck, 2019, Jacoby Brissett, 2020, Philip Rivers, 2021, Carson Wentz. Now, 2022, Jimmy G, maybe. 2023, Daniel Jones. 2024, Baker Mayfield. 2025, Jim Irsay's guitar collection. And then 2026, a stuffed mannequin of Andrew Luck.
Oh man,
that's what the Colts are looking like right now.
They really Andrew Luck retiring effectively put them in quarterback hell.
And they were the ones that made him retire because they couldn't protect him. So yeah. Now I did see where this is another team. But we'll move on. We'll talk about the Colts there because another quarterback that's leaving the AFC or leaving the NFC to the AFC is Russell Wilson. We kind of thought this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you felt like he was not long in Seattle. Felt like Seattle was going to blow it up. But you were wondering, okay, Denver didn't get Aaron Rodgers like you thought they would.
Right.
Von Miller puts out a tweet that says he'd love to run it back in Denver one more time.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, okay. I mean, going back to Denver, sure, he can go home. He's won 2 Super Bowls. You can do whatever you want, fine. And all of a sudden, there's a trade right after Aaron Rodgers announces that he's coming back. The Seattle Seahawks have traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos for 3 picks, including Drew Lock and Noah Fant, to the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting decision. The Seahawks, we kind of thought they're probably going to blow it up.
Yeah.
And I think they are. And now Denver.
They are effectively, they are in rebuild mode 100%.
Yeah.
Because they got rid of Bobby Wagner, too.
Exactly. They got rid of Bobby Wagner today, too. So now, not a whole lot on that team. DK Metcalf still on that team.
Tyler Lockett. I love Tyler
Lockett. But I don't think Drew Lock wasn't the guy in Denver. I don't think he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, is Seattle going to use? I mean, I'm sure they have a pretty high pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
They might be one of the ones to take somebody like Malik Willis or whoever.
Bailey Zappi. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of interesting to see that. So yeah, the Broncos, like we said, they've been looking for a quarterback since Peyton Manning. They tried Paxton Lynch, didn't work. They tried Teddy Bridgewater, who did fine at the beginning of the year, but of course, just toward the end, the injuries and everything took a toll. Drew Lock, they tried, and he had his moments as well.
Yeah.
But no one consistently good. And now you get Russell Wilson in there. And now I think AFC West is one of the toughest divisions, man. Oh, no way.
Yes. Well, the Broncos defense performed extremely well last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at their offense with adding Russell Wilson at quarterback, and in the backfield, you've got Javonte Williams, who had a really good year last year, plus Melvin Gordon, I think. I think he's still there. And then, you got Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, KJ Hamler.
And so I think it's a pretty good situation for Denver, but that division is so tough. Like, am I expecting them to be immediate Super Bowl contender? No, because their division is unreal, and there's four very, very solid quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're going to have to play them twice. Because you got Patrick Mahomes twice, Justin Herbert twice, Derek Carr twice. So, and this is if, they all get healthy, because, we saw the Raiders last year weren't healthy, and they still made the playoffs and almost knocked out the Bengals in the first round.
Right.
So, and then, of course, Chargers, Justin Herbert's going to sling it, and then the Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes. So, that's a very tough division. It makes it a lot interesting. Now you look at the NFC West, and if, say, Jimmy G gets out of that division, like people are saying, is it just Matthew Stafford's division to lose now?
Yeah,
because
honestly,
we haven't seen enough of Trey Lance to make anything of it. Seahawks, Drew Lock's your quarterback right now. And then Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray's good. I think the Cardinals are good, but they have just been so at the end of the year with Cliff. Just falling apart.
You can't trust Cliff. He'll start the first 7 games great, and then they're going to tail off.
Yeah, so now that division is just, if you lock in Stafford and you lock in most of those players, that's your division to lose, or you're going to pass to the playoffs every year. So
that's right.
That'll be interesting to see what happens. But the Seahawks, talking about them, they have said they are interested in looking at Deshaun Watson.
That as well.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson has all the legal stuff going on. The Texans kind of just abandoned him. There's a weird situation going on, but if he comes back and he's still in shape, and you're willing to sign him, the Seahawks immediately come back with somewhat of a contender in that West with that offense. So, it was going to be Bobby Wagner getting released. That stinks, because I feel like he's one of the most underrated players somehow.
Me too. Man, this boy came into the league same year as Russell Wilson in 2012, and he has made 8 Pro Bowls. He's been 6 times first team All-Pro and 2 times second team All-Pro. If you look at Madden, go look at his rating on Madden for like the past 5 years. Like, he's consistently a 95 or better. Like, it's unreal. Yeah. So
it's insane.
Whoever winds up with him, that'd be great. Good God, there's no feasible way, because if there was a way he could be a Tennessee Titan, wow.
There's a way. The Bills look like they're interested. They'd have to probably drop Tremaine Edmonds, which I hate. But you drop him, you can pick up Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
It might be worth it in the long run. For sure. So the Bills have said they're interested, or at least looking at it. I think I saw somewhere the Steelers might be looking at it too. So that's a huge free agent left. Also, the Cowboys are getting rid of Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
And they've literally said, and I was talking about this last week. They said that they can't trade him. They're going to release him. Why would you ever say that? Because teams now are going to lowball you.
Yes.
Because you're already going to get rid of them. Like, I would have at least said we're looking to trade him, so you can get some good stuff out of it. But them going to, I guess, does that mean Michael Gallup's your number 1 receiver now in Dallas?
CeeDee Lamb.
See, that's true, CeeDee Lamb. But I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's Dallas just kicking themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely tough.
Yeah, just weird situation for Dallas. Again, Dallas is the best team in the East, unless Carson Wentz just comes out of nowhere next year, or just Jalen Hurts, who's the weirdest quarterback ever, has a consistently good year.
Yeah. Eagles definitely, I think, overperformed.
Yeah, or if Dan Jones, Saquon Barkley stay healthy,
No shot.
maybe there's a chance, but I mean, no shot either of that happening. But yeah, just weird stuff out of that for sure for Dallas. And so then you think, okay, NFL is going to calm down. It's going to be fine. Well, here comes Calvin Ridley flying in.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro. I think Calvin Ridley is a very good receiver, and I had a lot of respect for him and what he did last year, stepping away from the game of football. But this whole situation is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. You can get mad and it's kind of feels weird for the NFL to get this mad at somebody for gambling when they have all the DraftKings, FanDuel, all those things, sites readily available.
Right.
Get that. The man's username was Ridley, was what? Kidley Ralvin or something
Yeah.
My man wasn't even trying to hide it.
Right. The worst thing about this whole situation is him and his Twitter account.
Yeah.
That is the absolute worst thing. Yeah. Let me find these things right here. So I hope he hasn't deleted them. No, he hasn't. I wouldn't figure it out.
Oh my God.
3 days ago, he tweeted out just the crying laughing emoji. No, 5 days ago. 3 days ago, he tweeted, "I learned from my L's." And this was before anything happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 2 days ago, when it came out, he tweeted, "I bet 1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem." And that tweet has 277,000 likes. He then tweeted, "I couldn't even watch football at that point," which I don't really know what that means. And then he says, "I'm just going to be more healthy when I come back." Okay. And then the best one, "I know I was wrong, but I'm getting 1 year, LOL." Are you serious? Stop tweeting. Put the phone down.
Walk away.
This man bet $1,500 and he lost $11 million because he can't play this year and he's losing his salary.
Yeah.
Bro.
That's the worst bet of all time, dude.
You talk about my mental health being bad already. Now it's terrible. I'm out $11 million. Are you serious? What? How stupid. Ban him. Okay, NFL year suspension. Get him off of Twitter. Get him out of here.
Someone from the Falcons, was watching all that. It's like, please stop. Please stop.
If they have the power to ban somebody like Donald Trump off Twitter, ban Calvin Ridley. We're trying to help him. He already said he has mental health problems. We're trying to help him.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley, man, just
stupid. Stupid. That's all it is. He's an idiot.
Don't tweet through it. Just don't tweet through it. That's all you have to do. Just shut up. Be like, you know what? That's fine, and walk away.
But I completely see the other side. I get it, and we've seen this happen with Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Who 100% should be in the Hall of Fame and is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. But now he's stricken. He's thrown away from the record books because of the gambling stuff.
Yeah,
which makes absolutely no sense to me.
Exactly. It's also funny. Calvin really bet on the Falcons to win. That was your first mistake, Calvin.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Somebody said this, and I realized how bad it is. The NFC South champion might be 6-11 next year. Because you have Tampa Bay with half their teams gone.
Yeah.
The Panthers, the Saints, who Jameis is going to do whatever he feels like. And then you have the Falcons, who again, you got Matt Ryan and got all this stuff. It's the Falcons. So yeah, NFC South is going to go back to being one of the worst divisions in all football. It's going to be hilarious, especially with this happening. So Georgia wins the national championship. The Braves win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta United wins their MLS Cup in their second year of existence. And the Falcons just provide comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can ask for, I guess, at this point. So NFL was just wild last week. You also had the Combine went down. The big boys out of Georgia ran so fast It was
My
terrifying.
God, Jordan Davis, a 4.78 he is an unreal
Yeah.
human being. He's not a human being, actually.
That just shows you how good that Georgia defense was last year when they had guys doing that on the field. Again, everybody looks great in shorts and a t-shirt, especially at the combine. But I don't know if anybody really opened my eyes about anything. I think Malik Willis does look like a pretty more accurate passer than I thought he was.
Yeah, I saw a lot of good things. His arm looked pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm still worried that they're going to treat him like a Josh Allen, and that they're going to hope he can take that jump in 2 years. When Josh Allen, I think, is a special case where he just got it finally,
right,
and went forward. So that's just one thing I think for sure. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Also, Breece Hall, they said, had a really good combine from Iowa State and looks like the best running back in the draft for sure. But it'll be interesting to see what goes there. Draft time's coming up toward the end of April, and again, like
I cannot wait.
So fun.
I love the draft.
All right, so now we'll turn our attention away from the NFL, but we will go to the NBA, where the Memphis Grizzlies are now in second in the West by half a game. Ja Morant still just tearing it up.
Yep.
They rallied the Pelicans the other day on national TV. It's always good after falling to the Celtics on the last TNT game. So they're kind of on a 2-2 stretch right now. But they take on the Knicks next, so hopefully should be able to continue that stretch. But they still look good. Ja Moran, I think, got ranked as the number one player under 25 or under. So
he's special. He is so special.
Yeah, just insane. We talked about all those crazy plays he's made and all of that. Just insanely good. And now, of course, they can hold on to that 2 seed. That'd be big time.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of games left. Grizzlies are 45-22. So what is that? Math 67 games. So they got like 15 games left.
Yeah. It's going to take something crazy for them to catch up to the Suns, who are in first.
Yeah.
By 8 games. And the Suns are beating Miami right now at halftime, 57-55, which could be a finals preview.
It could be, yeah.
It's wild. So, it's going to take a while for them to catch up. Also, you got Golden State's only a half game behind them.
Right.
Golden State's going to get some wins, for sure at the end, as they're starting to still play great with Klay Thompson back.
Yeah, Golden State, they're 3-7 in their last 10. That's where the Grizzlies have kind of made up some ground on them, but
I think Golden State does not play tonight. Yeah, they don't play tonight, so that's recording time. So it'll be in the future to see what happens there. I just want to let you know right now as we're recording, the Houston Rockets only down by 1 to the Lakers in the second quarter. If you want to know how the Lakers are doing right now.
If they don't make the play-in, how beautiful.
Yeah, they're a game and a half up on the Pelicans right now to stay in that play-in, and 3 games up on the Trailblazers. So
and they're 2-8 in their last 10.
Yeah, somehow beat the Warriors because LeBron went off. That's the only reason they made it in. Guess what? They take him out and they lose by 7 to the Spurs.
Right.
So, he's back tonight, and right now it's still not going well. Another team that's kind of struggled, the Chicago Bulls.
Yes, they have.
They're losing to the Pistons right now in the third quarter, and the Pistons are just ew.
Last week the Bulls were still tied for first.
Now
in the East, and now they have dropped down to 4th.
And they're only half a game up on Boston, who is starting to get rolling. Boston's on top.
Boston's played good. Boston's been playing real good. They played Memphis last week and beat Memphis pretty handedly.
Yeah, the Bulls have lost 5 in a row. So
and
the Celtics have won 3 in a row. So and then the Cavs have won 2 in a row. They blew a lead against the Sixers, but since then they've bounced back nicely. So
Philadelphia, the addition of James Harden, they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're up to the 2 seed. I mean, James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, it's dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. A team that can't overlook this. Kyrie Irving dropped 50 points for the Nets. It was against the Hornets. Looked great. So the Nets maybe starting to get rolling.
Maybe.
I'm interested to see what they can do. They're in that play-in game right now. They would play the Hornets, oddly enough, again. Their game up on them right now. So, so the East getting kind of wild toward the end right now, especially the Bulls starting to slip a little bit. West, everybody's pretty much there. It's just really those bottom play-in games, and if the Nuggets can stay above the play-in line.
Right.
You
know, So Eastern Conference, we got, Miami's still clinging. They've widened their lead. They're 3-game lead in the East for the 1 seed. Philadelphia surging up to 2, Milwaukee up to 3, Bulls have fallen to 4. Boston kind of surging, they're up to 5. Cavs taking a step back into the 6th spot. Play-in games, Raptors, Nets, Hornets, Hawks. Hawks still hanging on to the 10, a game and a half above the Wizards. And then there's the Knicks, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Magic. Yeah, it's just not great.
Yeah, the Knicks are the only ones that may have a legit shot about sneaking in, but the Knicks are the Knicks. I don't know if you saw how they lost to the Suns the other night. Just the most Knicks loss ever.
I did.
Be in control most of the game and then just blow it at the very end. Yeah. Let's go next.
And as far as the Western Conference, Suns 8-game lead on Memphis in the 2 spot. So they've got it. It's all but theirs. Memphis moving up to 2 on the rise. Golden State faltering a little bit in the last 10, 3-7. Like I said, they're 44-22. Jazz still hold on to the 4 spot. Dallas at the 5. Denver 9-1 in their last 10. Playing well at the 6th spot. Minnesota up to 7. They've won 5 in a row. And then 8, 9, 10, Clippers, Lakers, Pelicans, the struggle bus. Well, Clippers are kind of but
the Clippers did switch the Lakers this year, which is very interesting to think about.
Yes. Portland, San Antonio, Sacramento, which is just like who even do they even have people go to their games? Oklahoma City.
I don't know if you saw, but Domantas Sabonis got traded there. Right before
sucks for
him. He got suspended. He made contact with an official, so he's suspended for 2 games. And it's starting to get to him already. He has talked about already how frustrated he's been in there. I'm like, oh, you poor man, you poor man.
Sorry, buddy. I know Oklahoma City and Houston rounding out the bottom. They both trapped.
I legit have heard nothing about OKC this year at all. I feel like every week I check in and I have to look at their roster. All I know is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's on that team, and that's
so, he's really good. That's about it.
And Josh Giddey, he's kind of fun to watch. Other than that, poor Thunder, man. Remember they were going to the finals almost every year. And now it's just they're irrelevant, and I think that's worse than being bad. That's
it is.
I know we talked about this too, the most longest playoff droughts or whatever. The Kings over 16 years or something like that. Kings have also had, I believe now, that's 14 straight losing seasons, which is an NBA record.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's rough. Sacramento.
That sucks.
Stick them in Seattle, and let's forget they existed. Is what I said.
Right.
For sure. So that's NBA for you. I just kind of plug it along. Like I said, 15 games left. See. Also, Miami Heat. I don't know if you saw this. Victor Oladipo made his debut for the Heat the other night. And
I forgot about him, man.
Yeah, and I think that's the first time he's played this season. He's been banged up a little bit. He hasn't played in a while. But that's interesting to see that they got him. It's first time he's played in over a year. They played against the Rockets, and he had 11 points in 15 minutes, so that's efficient. Off the bench from injury, so if he can get going in these last few games, Heat are going to be super dangerous, man. If it's a Heat 76ers Eastern Conference Finals, that's going to be insane.
That's going to be a lot of fun, especially Jimmy Butler, former 76er, if albeit for a year. But, they obviously went through it that year because that was the year that Kawhi Leonard took all their hopes away with that shot. But
for sure. really the top 5 in the East could all be a lot of fun. Cleveland, I still have questions about Cleveland, but they're still good. That top 5 in the East, really fun. In the West, your top 3, I think, is a lot of fun to watch too, and then just Denver's fun as well to watch with Jokic, and then Luka and the Jazz with Donovan Mitchell. So it's going to be NBA playoffs are one of the best playoffs for sure.
Yeah, NBA playoffs are gas.
Yeah, so always fun to watch that. In college, Clemson is getting a 3-point game with 2 minutes left. Here they come again. I'm ready to get my heart broken.
Yep, here it comes.
Storm Murphy's going to make a half-court shot with no time left to break my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Very excited for that. But that's probably going to wrap up our show for the most part because kind of this weird situation. There's no baseball to talk about because they're still locked out.
Yeah. Still locked out. And as far as college stuff goes, I don't even want to talk about it. So
Clemson was beating Michigan State last time I saw 3-1 So
I think they're playing a game at Floor Field tonight. I think it's tonight.
They're playing right now. Yeah, I think Clemson, if they win, are going to be 13-0. I think so.
Yeah, they're definitely playing good. They got into the top 25 this week. I think they were 19.
Yeah,
I saw.
Yeah, I don't think they have a big series coming this weekend. They have Northeastern this weekend, who just swept NC State. So that'll be an interesting series for sure for the Tigers and for the Huskies as well. That's going on. Of course, next week we're probably going to talk about NCAA tournament action because we'll know who is in next week.
Yep.
With the men and the women. That's going to be a lot of fun. I have next Thursday off of work. I cannot wait to watch it. Let's watch it all day. I think those first 2 days, no one is going to get any work done, of course.
Right.
Sure. And so we'll go to this. We'll go to our top plays of the week. There were a lot of them, and unfortunately, sorry, Furman fans, I gotta go with Chattanooga. The shot to win it. Furman deserved to win it. They look great, and then just an incredible shot at the buzzer by John Baptiste to make it and to win the game. And Chattanooga wins the SoCon title. It's insane.
Yeah.
What
an unreal shot. Mine, I am gonna go. I'm gonna go UCF Tulsa in basketball, in men's basketball. Central Florida, 17-10 on the year. Tulsa, 9-19. Just a game being played. There's 3.1 seconds left. Central Florida is at the free throw line, and he buries the first shot. Second shot, he puts it up off the front of the rim, rebounded by Tulsa. Tulsa with the just over half court shot, nothing but net. Tulsa, an amazing win, an amazing shot, storms the court. Senior day, what a day to go out. So Tulsa gets the win on a big time buzzer beater. Also, just honorable mention to McNeese State for blowing it again. That's just amazing. Go ahead, Richard. Put the footage in. Put McNeese State, the 3-pointer, dagger, tech. You blew it. Losers. Wait, I think they're playing right now. What's today? I think they're playing right now. Oh no, I lied. Maybe not.
They didn't even make it.
Oh wait, I'm in the wrong conference. I hit Southern.
Oh, they are playing today.
McNeese 29 to 11. They are beating Northwestern State. So maybe they learned from their woes.
Baptist keep rolling. They beat number 8 Incarnate Word 74-64. So
Houston Baptist. The way it looks to me on this, it looks like if McNeese State and Houston Baptist were to meet again, it'd be in the Southland title. So let's just pray. Let's hope and pray.
For sure in that point. All right. Well, that is going to do it. Like I said, you got a big week of basketball coming up. And Then next week, of course, you have the NCAA men's and women's tournaments starting. You have D2 tournaments starting this week. I'm going on Friday. See Carson Newman play. Hopefully I'm there longer. That would be very nice to see. We will see what happens. And, of course, we've got all sorts of sporting events going on. And, of course, NBA craziness is going to continue until the draft, of course. So let's hopefully see what happens there this week. So, Waffle, anything you want to plug?
Nah, I don't really have a whole lot. I've just been working, man. I'm not really doing too much at Lander because they're playing in the NCAA tournament. I'll plug D2 basketball Friday. Just watch it. D2 basketball's gas.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun. So that's going to do it for us. This one should get posted. I have plenty of time. So this one will get posted up on Thursday. And we will see you back next week for the NCAA tournament. See y'all.
You've been listening to Breakfast Time with Waffle and Richard. Logos designed by Jen Perry. You can follow Richard on Twitter at Ricardo_knows or on Instagram at RNM1996. Catch up with Waffle at WaffDog on Twitter. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on this Bearded Broadcaster production.